What are some other things you feel like you've been doing that are giving you the edge, setting you up for success? Like when you think formulaically about your life and some of the advantages you have, if you will, what do you feel like some of the things that you've established are in your corner that continue to help? They're wind in your sails that are propelling you forward.
Learning how to delegate and trust people that you put in your team.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to trust, say, a CRM, or learning to trust that, like, if I jump on a call with you or McBilly, like, I'm going to get value out of it. It's not just like another call just to show up. Because I'm not going to lie, from 9 to 5 during my day, you got to execute that time well. I don't want to set hitter power, right? I want to put money and food on the table. So, like, in the Gap in the Game, there was a story in there where he talks about, the English or Great Britain's rowing team, right? You remember that part?
Yeah. I do.
It's like, hey, you got to make the boat go faster. And that's what I think every single day. So what is going to put food on the table, or what is going to help me achieve that 100 million in a year span, right? And if you're not doing that with every single activity and being meaningful with it, what the frick are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about the CRM that you guys have. It's been super impactful for that because it's cut down time. And then 2, I can have more meaningful conversations with video. So I use Loom a ton. And what I do is every single LE that I send out, I go line by line. I've gotten so good at, like, the loans that I've closed now that I can do it in 2 minutes.
Wow.
Right? Like, you can bust through every single line. Hey, borrower, this is what your collapsed close looks like. This is what this looks like. Full experience. I'm going to share it with you because it's wicked. Borrower watches the video twice. I get pinged with 2 emails. I'm like, okay, something's up, right?
Yeah.
All of them. They're with the agent. I go, what's up? Did you guys have any questions? Blah, blah. No, we just watched your video twice. We actually got it. But hey, let's talk about this. Guess what?
That's actually brilliant. I've never thought about that, bro. Because, like, I would refer when I had my insurance brokerage. I used Loom religiously, and I would observe that oftentimes the video would be watched. I'd shoot it at 3 p.m. in the day, and the video would be watched somewhere between like 8 p.m. and 11, right? Usually, and I would notice on average when there was a not a single person, but like a fiance or a marriage or whatever, there would be a second watch like 10, 15 minutes later, right? And I can only imagine with some version of the person I'm talking with primarily goes, oh, that's cool. Here, and check this out. And it's like, it was so valuable. Like I was blown away by how much leverage it gave me in the relationship because before somebody would come in, I hated when people would come into my office because I knew that 90 minutes of my life just went away on average, right? Some people would just come in talking about their dog, their truck, their whatever. And it's like, oh my God, dude, just kill me now. And I could short that. I could cut that down without having to leave my house to like 5-6 minutes. And they were just as excited and happy about it, right? And so that's huge. That's so huge.
And what's cool about that, though, is like, because I did that video, I could take time to talk about their dogs or cats or whatever happened to them, right? And that on the phone, right? Which is almost like intimate, I guess you could say, is a good word for that. Like, you could actually build that relationship and actually get to where, like, hey, they're going to remember. Because we just came from COVID. Like, I closed a lot of loans up here, and I remember being in Costco, talking on the phone, and I have a voice, right? That is my voice. And the lady behind me goes, hey, Tyler, thanks for closing on my loan. Never met her because it was COVID. She knew who I was because of the signature on my email. Why does she know about me more, right? And that's a buyer video.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think that's a takeaway. That's a definite nugget for those that are there. If you're using Loom or you're not, you need to be using video. And I don't care if it's BombBomb, Loom, whatever. But the cool thing about Loom is you can get notifications. I don't know that it defaults to it. I can't remember. But you should, whether it does or it doesn't, you should be making sure you do get notifications, watch notifications, because talk about, this is a marketing concept. So Dan Kennedy talked about this at the last 2 funnel hacking labs, actually. He was there and he talked about it both times. And this is a concept from the book, The Purpose-Driven Church. Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
So the Purpose-Driven Church is essentially a marketing book wrapped in Christian context to help pastors grow their congregation. And there's a chapter in the book. It's a really good book. It's a really good marketing book. Even though it's not like, they don't talk about it like that, but if you were to read it as a marketer going, okay, I want to learn about marketing, you're going to get some massive takeaways from the purpose-driven church. And there's a chapter in there where he talks about the concept of susceptibility, which is essentially like, where most people try to, they figure, this is kind of the street preacher method. I'll just go out there, I'll start yelling, and whoever it resonates with will come to me. And it's like, that's a way. But he actually talks about how there's no susceptibility in that, because it's like, there's people that might not feel like they need Jesus that day, whatever, they just keep walking, right? But he talks about kind of an alternative strategy, leveraging susceptibility, where you go down to the courthouse and you pull the domestic disputes that happened last week because it's public record, and you send them a Bible with a sales letter about why now is the right time to get Jesus. And they actually talk about the domestic violence, right? It's like, they're not even hiding it. It's like, no, this is the perfect time for you to get to know, right? And it's an awesome explanation of this concept of susceptibility. But I think that's what you're doing. When you see that notification and then watching it, it's top of mind. Like, you literally are being notified that they are investing time into progressing on this homebuyer journey. And that call is like the clouds part and you come down. I would imagine that there's actually people that if you did that and you just didn't even say, hey, I saw you watch the video, they would just feel like wow, this is coincidence, No, it's like, it's not, I got the notification, but,
well, and you know how like a real true salesman has a script for everything, right? Like, he knows his scripts. And like, one analogy that I always use when I get them under contract is I say, hey, the application process, you just went through TSA, just got patted down, and you were working with your flight attendant at the gate, which was your agent. You just got on the plane. I have a whole village behind me that's going to make sure you get to your destination. And I'm probably not going to talk to you for 2 weeks, because once you get up to elevation and the appraisal's ordered, there's a time where you don't need to talk to me. Take a nap. But when we get ready, I'm going to come on air and be like, hey, we're about to land. The appraisal just got back. You start to feel like all this anxiety and everything's coming in. I got you. I'm your captain. I'm going to make it to the runway, and I'm going to make you feel like, hey, this was easy. But once you get to baggage claim, that's on you. You go ahead and move in. That's not me. And that analogy has helped me be able to like set expectations with that, right? And I think going back to what we're talking about being top of mind, when they watch a video, I want to be able to jump in and be like, cool, they want something right now. I'm going to go answer it really quick, get it done, and then go back to my flow. And that's selfish of me, but really you're providing a better experience, because you want to hit them up 3 days later when they're not thinking about it anymore.
Well, I think the important distinction on that too, bro, is, there's, I think that there's generally in the English language, there's an unhealthy relationship with the concept of selfish, right? And there's an element of like, we shame it. Like being selfish is bad. And it's like, there's self-serving, right? And it's like, I think that it really depends on intention, because it's like, if your goal is to like serve self at the cost of others, that is wrong. And I think that universally most people would go, yeah, okay, well, if we're clarifying words here and words matter, then yes, that's a bad kind of selfishness, right? But there's the selfishness where it's like, I got a kid that's growing up and I want to make sure he has good opportunities. I got a wife I want to take care of. It's like, well, okay, yeah, you're selfish, sure. You are serving your own objectives. However, your intention is to provide, to care for, to support. It's like, so I think that's an important thing when people are listening to this too. It's like, you should be selfish. You should be selfish. Your intent should not be to be selfish at the cost of others, but to grow your own life. And there's a way that you could do that in a win-win-win fashion,
It really does come down. I know we're kind of like all over the place right now, but like, it really does come down to setting your own expectations, right? Like, hey, your lack of preparation is not my job to make up for that. So I'm going to be proactive and keep you accountable, like whether that's a referring partner or a lead. hey, I'm going to call you at such and such a time, and we are going to have a conversation. Okay, cool. I put the ball back into your court. Sweet. Put it back into mine. Sweet. Moving back, right?
Right.
Keep the conveyor belt going. And like, you almost have to do that in relationships, even with like your wife or
Sure.
friend, right? Like, you got to be able to give to them,
Yeah.
and also be willing to take at a certain time.